Firstly, I am real. This is Mark, right? I'm not AI. And the second thing I was going to say is I'm not an AI expert, right? So because I don't build AI, I don't code. I'm not a technical sort of AI person, but I use it every single day in my business, in cinemas that I work with all over the world. So I'm sharing with you the experience I have and my company's experience in it. So hopefully it'll be helpful. And above all, we're going to have fun today, guys. That's the main thing. So, it's already up there. So the title is Busy to Brilliant. We are all busy. And I'm going to show you how AI is helping cinema teams and companies to save time, work smarter, and focus on what really matters, which all of us really want to do. Because I think, talking to Jens, a lot of your work is doing stuff that it doesn't really matter so much or you don't want to do. So here's how AI can help you enjoy your work even more. But I think it's worth setting the scene. Cinema teams, as we all know, we're all time poor and very stretched. We're not resourced fully. We're trying to do too many things, juggling a lot of balls in the air. And so we appreciate that. So that's one point. And the other thing is that AI is not about replacing us. It's about enhancing our creativity, enhancing our skill sets, enhancing our analytical capabilities and thinking processes, right? So it's more like a little assistant you have with you all the time that you can lean into. But be careful. There are pitfalls with this, and there are challenges with this, and it can be quite addictive. So be careful on that. But it does help take on repetitive, time-consuming tasks. So teams, so you can focus on your creative strategy and high-impact work, because that's what you need to do. So it's actually for everybody. It's not just, well, it's not for me, it's not for it's actually, we can use AI, all of us, in our own ways, in the way that we feel comfortable with. Whether you've never opened it, say chat or an AI already, this session is for you. That's fine. If you've never used it or you use it every day, you're a pro, you're an expert, this session is definitely for you. And I hope you'll see a lot of the practical things that I'm going to go through, and then the workshop we're going to do today will sort of inspire you. So the myth versus the use. AI is technical, complex, and risky. Well, it's certainly technical and it's certainly complicated, but we don't need to worry about that. Forget that, because we don't know how it works fully, and we'll probably not know because we're not coders. But it does help us with simple everyday jobs that eat up our time. So, that's the point of this presentation. So it's on this side, it's a fantastic enabler. So what I want to do is sort of just go through some, use cases to inspire you the different ways that it can be used in your business on a daily basis. We can, the workshops will allow you to go sort of much deeper into some of this stuff, but I will say that I'm sort of skipping along sort of quite quickly on these things, and obviously if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer them. A lot of this sort of AI work tends to sort of fall into sort of various work streams like campaigns, and of course, people go, marketing is the first place it can help. It can certainly help. You can build complete full marketing frameworks with AI, from very simple tasks to helping you write a piece of copy to actually doing some incredibly complicated, membership analytics, to market segmentation and deep research and business modeling would break even. So it has an enormous amount of power in just the concept of how you run your campaigns and how effective they can be and what you can do to make them even better. Because I think, in my experience, you do things, the same sort of process of campaigns day in, day out, but you're never really quite sure whether actually they're really effective, whether they're really optimal, and in most cases, they're probably not. So AI can help you sort of turn these dials and make it even more effective for you. And in terms of content, it can help you create content. It actually can help you generate really creative content. But I will say, this is a really important point. You can ask it to create some content, but the way I like to work is that I have a go at writing content first, and I put it into ChatGTP or something, and it often says that's really rubbish, start again, or it comes up with some other ideas, and you kind of like have a two-way conversation. So whilst you can rely or lean into an AI tool, you're in control, right? It's there to help you. It's not to take your thinking away from you. It empowers you. It allows you to ask questions. And operationally, it can save hours and hours of sort of report writing or creating plans or business plans for the board or for your senior management teams to sign off. And it helps you structure your arguments to actually create the business case so that it becomes very digestible very quickly and very easily for your senior management to go, yes, this is a great idea, go ahead. And I do this a lot when I'm trying to condense very complicated things into something that I need to share with people within a very short period of time. Sometimes you write things which are very long, they're not quite to the point, they haven't quite got the analytics behind it, and people then sort of start questioning it, and you have to go back and do it again. So a lot of that can be helped with operations, and also recording meetings and writing summary reports and actions and outcomes from a conversation you have with people. So you can upload data, you can upload spreadsheets, you can upload documents of all types, PowerPoints, PDFs, Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, you name it, just lots of different types of data. And then what chat does or AI does is help you to analyze that data quickly so that you can act upon it. This is where things can start going wrong very quickly, right? When you are inputting data, whether it's a film campaign spreadsheet to understand what genres perform best in certain times, at certain days, different customer segments or not, you really need to know almost what you're expecting the answer to be, right? Because if it comes back with information and you don't know how it got there and you present it, you could be presenting absolute garbage, right? So you really need to have an understanding of what you want, how you want to get there. And very often I will ask it, how did you get there? Show me your calculations, show me your thinking. And often it goes off on some weird path, and you have to go, look, that's rubbish, it's wrong, start again, and bring it back to its core thinking. So if you upload sort of a lot of data and you want to know which genres are performing best for the first-time customers, that concept of first-time customers in its own right is quite difficult, because you then have to bring in your data of who has come to your cinema that you recorded for the first time in a certain amount of, it could be a period of 2 years. So you're sort of bringing lots of different data sets together to create some sort of understanding that, to understand how first-time customers appear. And I would expect most of your first-time customers will come to see a big film. That's when people come out for the first time, by the way. So what this does will allow you to give very clear insight for marketing and segmentation and programming, so you can optimize your scheduling, you can optimize your booking and so on. So that's just one tiny little thing. I could go on like that for hours. Yes. Go back.
It's quite difficult to understand what you mean by a film campaign spreadsheet, upload the spread.
Right.
What is it? How you get this data?
Okay. So the source data is important. So the source data comes out of your ticketing system, your POS system, and so it's on a transaction basis. So you know that Mark or someone like me went to see a film on a certain day at a certain time. And that is a transaction thing. You can download, you can export all your transaction data into a CSV file, and then you can just put it straight up into chat. And actually on the workshop today, I have 2 groups that will be uploading real data to have a go exactly what this is about.
I don't know the others, but
I'm only on slide 3.
As far as I'm concerned, my data are not
and a graphic. They are not. They cannot understand if it is a first client coming once,
Right.
or they are not linked to a name.
No, but you have a customer ID. So you're
Only if they
Yes.
bought online.
That's right.
Uh,
So this goes down to you have okay. This is getting really into the data, right? So if you have a customer base, you will have people who are unknown. You can't track them. They probably come in and pay by cash at the POS, at the tills, the box office. You have people who book online, and invariably when people book online, they will give you an email address so that you can send them the ticket. That record of that email, whilst it's not used for marketing, is actually in the system, right? And that is a customer record. You have other customers who are opted in and members, which are they have customer IDs and accounts and all this sort of thing. But you can, simply by tracking emails in the system, to see if it's the first time that email has been used at your company over a period of time, right? But it's a good question. So I think it's got something at the back.
Hi. Do you always find the data to be reliable? Do you ever have to check them again after your research on
Right.
with ChatGPT?
Right. So firstly, the data you put in, if it's garbage, you'll get garbage out. Garbage in, garbage out. So the data that you give it, you need to understand what that data is, where it's come from, is it accurate, how it was come about. So then when you are putting it into the chat and helping it, it helps you to analyze that data quickly, you can then know that it's not the data that's wrong. It's if you're getting things back, it's an AI, because it'll look at the data. But I will say, when you put data in, the first thing I do is to ask if it understands what the data is. So it's not just going, you put up a spreadsheet and you start asking 20 questions at once. You go in little steps, right? Because then it says, oh yes, this data is, and then it might come up with a column that says, oh, this, and whatever, and it's saying, oh, well, that's not right, it's meaning this or whatever, right? So the quality of data that you put in really drives the quality of the information you put out. So that was one slide, sorry. Then this is these are sort of linked, but strategic campaign building. So this is where you can use chat to expand an idea of a campaign into sort of proper logic, so real structured logic of who you're trying to contact and why and when and how, and it comes up with a planning framework in which you can work towards. So in other words, it can actually help you roadmap your actions over a period of time. Often when we're staring at a campaign, we're trying to work out what comes first, second, third, fourth, and so on over a deliverable period is actually quite a time-consuming task. Chat can just quickly summarize that for you so you can get straight into action. And also, if you're kind of a bit stuck on, well, how do I create these segments and what do I call them, or whether they're customer segments, it'll help you come up with names and structures and what they are for you. And again, we actually have some examples in the workshop to go through. Emailing strategy is a really good one. This one talks about, for example, this has been something I've been working on very much. Email strategy for infrequent cinema goers. Now, I'll just say this, which is, if you're sending out a newsletter to every one of your clients on customers on a database every single week, they're getting an email every single week, but they only go once a year. Right? So on that basis, are your emails, newsletters actually making any difference at all to those people? And the answer is no. So then you have to come up with a complete plan for how you communicate to infrequent people versus infrequent people. But to try and create a calendar over 3 months of all the different types of emails and campaigns you've got to run each week and when on which day is actually very time consuming to try and create yourself manually. I've managed to produce 3-month sort of calendars for CRM campaigns within 5 minutes using AI and give it to my clients, and it's saved them days of work. So we can talk about that some more, but it's a really helpful way of actually making sure that your campaigns are really well structured but strategically, frameworked within what you're trying to do. In this case, to talk to infrequent cinema goers in different ways to frequent ones, because a lot of times you don't. Membership strategy. So this is another thing where a lot of cinemas, I'm sure a lot of you have membership, sort of different types of membership and loyalty programs, and they've been set up and run over a period of time or years. But are they really effective? Are they really optimal? What changes do I need to make? What would be the ideal membership structure based on the data of my customers that I can put into an AI? And it may come up with a completely different kind of membership program that you currently have. But what this does is not just sort of understand what the program can be. It can tell you what the upgrade logic is, what the features you've got to offer, how you need to offer them, when you need to offer them, and it also can help you build the business break-even model. So when you're running, a lot of sort of marketing sort of gives a lot of stuff away, but actually, is it making additional money for the business? Is it profitable? Where is the break-even pivot for the campaigns that you're running? This can help you build a business model that you actually can sort of stress test. What happens if I give too much of one thing away or not enough in another? So building complex business plans, effective loyalty campaigns, and membership structures is really important. And I'm doing this right now with multiple cinema chains around the world. One example would be one client in Australia has a sort of tiered program, and it's based on the number of visits that people make, and each visit is counted when they buy a ticket, and that visit record expires after 12 months. So they have 3 tiers, and the thing is, the base tier you join when you have you can have no visits. But the next tier says you go up to this silver tier when you have 12 visits. But that's only like 3% of their customer base. So all their members in their membership program are in the bottom end of the membership tier, right? So it's really ineffective. So simply by changing sort of the structure of the program and how the tiers are working, you can do some really smart stuff to make it more effective. And that's just, it's all good stuff. So F&B, food and beverage, is a key part of our business. As we all know, we all want to sell as much snacks, unhealthy food or healthy food, or alcohol or whatever, to our guests. And what we don't really know is the connection between the films we're showing and the food that we're selling at any time, right? So what this enables, AI has enabled me to do, is to join up sort of what we're showing at different times and different days of the week with different genres and the food that we sell at any particular time of day. So that means I know that certain films will sell this type of product more than other films. I know that Tuesday afternoons will sell more of something else. So that way I can then create and plan my stock and my inventory management and my F&B menus and boards and what I sell today and tomorrow far more effectively and more efficiently. And in the end, what happens here, so for example, family matinees, popcorn, soft drinks, date night films, wine, premium snacks, Tuesday, lowest sales, new bundle offer required. These are all little things that come out from this analytics, and it changes the way you plan your F&B. So for example, this is with clients, we've helped reduce their stock waste by about 20% of things that sort of they have to throw away or they get the wrong things in. And sort of we've also sort of matched staff rotas with the flow of people going in and the F&B sales. So, the staff costs go down, you're more efficient, you don't throw stuff away, you sell more of the right thing to the right people, and you make more money and everybody's happy. That is a project in its own right that would probably take somebody without AI assistance several weeks. But here you could probably do this in a day to actually get the planning. So I've said here sort of what it was: cost saving hours, reducing creative fatigue. These are all things that we can do using AI today. All right, so this is a fantastic enabler. It allows you to do things that you wouldn't be able to do in the time that you have. And best of all, it allows you to focus on things you really love doing, and you become more efficient and your output increases. And you gain back hours each week. I mean, so much time. So what good AI is, what the good use of AI basically is, as we've sort of tested, sort of already touched on, verify the outputs. Don't believe everything it tells you. In fact, it's probably wrong in the first instance, or not optimal. But don't forget, it's talking to you. So if you're asking AI, this is an interesting one. So if you're writing a proposal, and it's always very polite, AI. It always tries to make you feel good, right? Which is always a little bit disconcerting. It never says you're an idiot, which I wish it really would. And it would probably be true. But the idea is that it's talking to you in that way. So if you've written a proposal, say, and then you can go, now, imagine I am now my chief executive officer and I've received this. How would you rate this proposal? And it actually rates it like from the other end. It takes the view of not from your point of view, but from a CEO or a line manager. And you'll get a completely different thing. It'll say, well, this is a reasonable proposal, but it's missing 5 key things. And you go, why didn't you say that when I was building it? So verify the outputs and always understand what you kind of do, what you want. If you don't understand what you're trying to do, then don't use AI. Find somebody who does know what you're trying to do so that you can actually verify the outputs and accept it. Don't accept the first thing. Always provide a detailed brief. Break it down into steps. And use it, for example, as a rough draft generator if you're writing copy or anything, but honestly, you'll have to sort of work on it quite hard and make that copy your own. If you're taking everything that AI says and just use it verbatim, then it's not really your work at all. You have to own your own work, right? Otherwise, you lose your connection with what you're actually trying to do. So AI should take care of about 40% of the time that you don't love using. I mean, wow, how about that, right? If you could, AI thinks it can save you 40% of your sort of things that you don't like to do very much, right? And makes you more efficient. And I've actually can prove some of this in a second. But above all, right, it gives you time to build relationships, make creative decisions, lead strategic change, and best of all, you work with other people. It allows you to free up to actually communicate with your colleagues and peers, and like we're all here today, right? Sharing ideas and expertise and knowledge and learning. And, what we do best is work together as teams. So if you can, AI can free you up from all that sort of boring sort of head down desk work, some of it anyway. You allow you to open up and be much more communicative and more productive in that way. And that is really important. I do want to just touch on a few other things. So for example, businesses are sort of still sort of not that clear on this, but most companies need to have a policy about AI. It's really important, because you can be in a position of haves and have-nots, people who do know and don't know. And I think, it needs to be a level playing field. So, what are the rules a business might have about how they use, or their teams use, and their employees use AI in a safe and constructive way across the team? There needs to be a policy, a clear policy about misuse, data privacy, so don't upload your customer emails into an AI. I don't know what happens to it. And also, for example, AI has asked me if I would share all my documents on my computer. And I'm going, over my dead body, right? And also, it can create tone inconsistency. In other words, how you communicate and how your business communicates, either internally or externally. It's really important that tone of voice, right, is monitored by the teams, and there has to be standards on that. And then, of course, who has access. And generally speaking, we're all using it in some way, but of course, if people are using multiple different platforms and have access to them at the same time, there's a cost associated with these. So the business actually will be having a cost that it didn't have before. So that needs to be agreed. And there needs to be training within a company of people. There needs to be the HR probably needs to handle the training of AI. There needs to be workshops within companies. And, don't claim AI is your work if it's not, right? So if you are presenting anything, please say that you've used AI in part of it. So we'll often go, in my company, if I'll share a document and I'll go, I'll just put this into AI very quickly, this is what it says. So I'm happy to say that it's not my work, but I can comment on the work that I'm sharing and be open with it. So we're very transparent at Indy Cinema Group, where I work, about how we're using AI, so everybody understands it. And yes, I did use AI to help with this presentation a bit, particularly the last bit, where actually you'll see what happens in a minute. So just want to say that, company policy. Ethics, just because we can, should we use it? I think actually we are actually using it without actually knowing we're using it now. I think it's so prevalent in our world. Even a Google search now is not what it was. It actually is a Gemini AI powered search. So the first thing that comes up with Google now is actually an AI answer. So we're using it, right? So we need to use it responsibly. And making sure that it supports creative diversity and truth. So make sure that what it's giving you is actually factually correct. There's so much, I'm going to be polite here, rubbish out there on social media and anything that you search. It's very difficult to actually know whether something's real or not. And this is becoming harder and harder as AI is actually generating fake content. So be very careful. So there needs to be things that we need to do internally about this, and it can unintentionally amplify bias or stereotypes. You just be very careful. So your company policy on ethics needs to be reflective of this and be cognizant of it. AI generated content must never replace human or cultural interpretation. So again, you are the police. You are in control of it. If something doesn't feel right, for whatever reason, then it probably is wrong, right? And then go and seek assistance, talk to others in your teams. Always verify facts, keep human review and creative cultural outputs. Always have your spin, your personal input on everything. As soon as you stop it, you don't own it, and you might as well just walk out of your job and do something else, because you've given up what you're bringing to the table. So this is really important. Of course, all this goes into what Europa Cinemas are doing sort of with their charter on these things. So you need to back into this and sort of rely on it. Sustainability, I'm often asked about sustainability and whether AI is sort of, how can you justify it? Well, actually, just remember that AI is happening everywhere. In this room, things are being driven by AI now, right? Not me, though, but there's a lot of other things. But if you can, it does consume energy, but it's how you use it. So in other words, if you can use it to optimize the sort of your facilities, your cinemas, reduce waste, increase efficiency, reduce power, stop using, reducing energy consumption, getting more people into your cinemas, making your building full of more people will actually make your building more effective than it currently is. So there's a lot of things that it can do that actually is green, can be sort of classified green, whilst you're sort of obviously burning up some, carbon at the same time. So providing you are tracking the positiveness of the AI use, which actually goes back to some of the ethics, is important. And don't keep asking, so don't overuse it. The more you use it, the more energy it uses. So you also have to become quite efficient on how you use it. I know it sounds silly, but you need to control yourself. You really do. And so I just thought I talked about hours and how much time it can save you. So busy to brilliant, I think these are sort of various things that sort of the old way with AI, you could call it the new way, or the better way. So sort of first draft copywriting may take you 2 hours before, but probably you can get the same job done in 15 minutes. right? If you're doing segment logic building, which could take you 1.5 hours, do it in 20 minutes. Presentations you could knock up a really good presentation in 30 minutes, which would have taken you 3 hours or more. Spreadsheets are just instant. Inputting data is like just so fast. Website style updates, CSS. For those of you that are actually helping to build websites or want to improve your website, there's a sort of coding language called CSS, and you can actually use AI to help ask what CSS is needed to improve certain things on your website, actually build it in different ways and just upload it and it's done. We're doing this quite a bit. Within Indy. What was taking us days is taking us just minutes, because it's coming up with a coding language for us. And this is how much time I saved in September. There you go. This is true, right? This is what AI said, and this is based on my use. Right, so it says these are all things I've done: Indy business plan, proposal developments, campaign strategy drafts, board team reports, customer loyalty modeling, library work, data analytics. It says here I saved 56 hours in September. That's like a week of my. That's a week back. Actually, it's probably like 3 days the hours I work. But the point really is that time has now been freed to allow me to do things that I'm good at doing, right? Instead of lost in sort of, unproductive hours. So I just think that's a pretty good example of how effective it can be and how many hours you can save in 1 month. Get a week back. Take a holiday. That's what I want to do. Exactly. Well, it can be, but if I'm doing that, it just will end up net I save more hours. But actually, it just allows me to do more effective things with clients, talk to people, and sort of do proper things that I'm better at doing rather than sitting at a desk crunching numbers, for example.
I have a question. Do you also use Copilot for your email, for your mailbox?
No.
Do you have any experience with that?
I'm not going to let
one of my big problems is that I get too many emails.
Of course.
And it's very.
Yeah, there is an AI. I think it's Fixer or something that you can run on Outlook, and it just answers all your emails for you. There's not a hope in hell that I'll do that.
No. I'm not talking about answering my emails, but summarizing it. Like, okay, so in your 100 emails, you have basically 10 emails about this.
I think there is an AI. I think that is part of that process. So that's the first step, which says you're getting these emails, and then of course it goes to the point: would you like me to answer them for you? So on sort of Instagram, you see people, I get 500 emails in a day, and they've all answered in 5 minutes. And you go, did you have any idea what you said to anyone? I mean, Jesus Christ, that is serious stuff, right? So hold back. No, I know.
You know what I mean.
I know.
I'm not talking about answering emails.
No, I know. So I'm not sort of like up to. I think I'm sort of on the edge of sort of. I'm very cautious about what I let AI into my life if I can. Because I still like to sort of answer emails personally, funnily enough, or just ignore them, actually, which is the other great one. And eventually, if somebody stops contacting you, then that's fine. So the other thing here is, I just wanted to say there's lots of types of AIs, and they are all, of course, sort of using different engines, and they're doing different things, some for analytics, some for PowerPoint presentations, some for creating video and so on. Look, I mean, they're all good, but they all have weaknesses. I'm doing a presentation in a couple of months on the over 65 market, right, for cinema going, and I wrote all this information and I put it into Gemini, I think, which is a PowerPoint creator. And okay, it was the free version, but I told it what I wanted. Here was all the copy, and it came up with absolute rubbish. I mean, it was just like, I can't even be bothered to try and attempt. I'll just do my own. So some of these things are really good, but just remember that the pro users they all have free entry, but then they're always very limiting, and they all come at a cost. Yes. Just a side note, but most of these AI
most of these AIs only work English languages.
Yeah.
So if you're not English speaking or you need your own language generations, you're out of luck.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And also, its translations aren't that great either, sometimes. So be careful when you're doing translating work. Just as a little side point here, in the legal profession, when they're court hearings, you have the stenographers that are taking down every word that is said in a courtroom. Now, this is still happening today. The manual process of taking it manually, every word that's said in a courtroom, that's been going for over 100 years, hasn't changed. They're not going to AI where they could just record it and transcribe it, because it is always a 5 or 10% chance that the translation or sort of the words that are recorded are not accurate. In legal profession, of course, that could be a big problem, right? It wasn't in your case, but the legal profession hasn't gone that way yet. So to your point, use of language words, and obviously the proliferation of English only is limiting. But I would just say, just watch the compounding effect of cost here, and that's why your company needs to have a position of how much it's going to spend and who gets what, and how much they are allowed to sign up for. So on the next, the horizon, I just want to talk a little bit, because I think it's really understanding the near future and being in the technology side of cinema, sort of on pause and marketing and ticketing and all this sort of thing, reporting. The idea of pulling reports, getting like pretty charts and sort of going, oh, give me, you have a standard set of reports in your cinema business, that will go. It's about to go. You will have what they call conversational reporting. So you will actually talk to, we have a thing called Indy Magic. So it's just like a Google search bar, and I go, I want to know how many attendances I did in the last 2 months and how many films they saw and what they did and blah, 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 which sites. And it just comes up with a report. It just goes to all the data sources in the system and just pulls it up, and there you are. And then he says, can you come up with recommendations and insights from this report for me? And they go, yeah, sure. Next steps. And it tells you. So in other words, your whole idea of reporting is going to change. The way you get data is going to change. The way you analyze data will change, and that will give you an incredible insights in which to make really clever marketing and other campaigns. Staffing optimization, which is, we're in such a sort of, with the cost of staff and that sort of our peaks and troughs in our business, it's very difficult to manage this manually. So a lot of staff management systems now using AI to make sure that you're scheduling your staff in the most optimal way, and that could save cinemas thousands and thousands of euros a year. Film forecasting, well, it's getting to the point that actually AI will tell you what to book. All right. And it will do that pretty well. View Entertainment in the UK have been doing this for several years, and they've seen a really big increase in their attendances. And the AI knows by sight what films would work and what times of day works, how many, or everything. So it comes up with an entire booking schedule that then somebody sort of ticks off and say, yes, that's fine. And it actually will automatically put it into the system, and it goes up on the website. So it's completely frictionless, no people. Audience movie matching, this is where sort of you can get really smart in how you're communicating to people. The way I see our CRM going is that instead of having 20 segments for our customers, we may have 100. We may have 500. And then each of these campaigns and each of these emails will be generated by AI, so that we can talk to more people in more different ways more effectively, but still keep control over the creative and the brand messaging that comes out. That is really exciting, because we're going to end up being much more efficient of how we use our systems. Strategic pricing will help you, and menu optimization. We presented this at CinemaCon, actually, with some of our clients. With the data now, the menu boards that you have in your cinemas, if they're digital, right, so your sort of combos and all this sort of thing behind your tills, they can all be AI generated. So they will automatically change, based on what you're showing and the day of the week. You don't have to design them anymore, right? So that means that what you're presenting to your customers as they come into your cinema is exactly what they want. All right? Your F&B sales will go up. You'll sell more. Your hit rate will increase and your revenue will increase simply by better communication. These are happening now, right now. So my last few slides, how am I doing on time? So last few slides, this is where I use chat. I thought, I put the profiles of all of you, not your email addresses or names, your jobs and your comments into chat and said, what questions are you going to ask? So this is, I haven't changed this. This is all AI. This is based on it coming up with the questions you're going to ask. So the first one says, how do we start using AI if our team has little time or confidence? And it says, start small and practical, choose one repetitive task. Good idea. Like writing a weekly newsletter, summarizing a meeting, translating social posts, whatever it might be. You're not just writing faster, you're thinking faster and smarter. That's chat. Not me. How can we trust AI results if we don't know how it works? You don't need to know how the engine works, you just need to know how to drive it safely. Oh, great. That's a really nice way of putting it. I couldn't have put it better myself. Chat, cheers. The key is verification. I've said that on and on in this presentation. Verify, check. Make sure you understand it. Knowing the mistakes and pitfalls along with its potential is more important than being an expert of knowing how it works. I don't know how it works, but I do know when it's rubbish, what it's putting out, and I do know how to verify what I'm asking it to do. Can AI really help us understand audiences when we have small data sets? Absolutely. AI doesn't need millions of rows. It can find patterns in small ticketing and survey data. It helps ask better questions. So often, this is actually really important. It can actually come up with the questions to ask it, right? Because often you're not asking the right question. So by not asking the right question, you're not going to get the right answer. So it'll help you do this. Test and learn with AI. The more data you give it, the better. So if you've got millions and millions of rows, that's fine. If you've only got several thousand rows of data, whatever it might be, that's fine too. All right. So that's really useful, I think. Will AI make our communication less creative or too generic? Well, that's a really classic one, which is if we all use the same platform, we're all going to say the same thing. So only if you let it said. Right? So don't let it. The trick is to make your AI your co-writer, not your replacement. I think I said that earlier in the presentation. Use it to generate drafts, headlines, or tone variations. Shape it with the result that you personally have your touch on. Right? So use it as an inspiration, but don't just take it 100%. You remain the editor and the storyteller. You're in control. Use your skills and talent. And in fact, the more time that AI gives you, frees you up, the more time you can use your skills and your talent. Can AI help with programming or scheduling? Yes, it's already doing that in other sectors. Analyze genres, optimal show times, forecast performance on past data, look at local different sort of communities and audiences in different areas, all that kind of thing. We're going to have a go at that today. It's like having a programmer's assistant who works in Excel, SQL, and CRM all at once. Right? So I'll take that any day. Now, I said, now come up with a stupid question. It said, can an AI solve all my cinema problems so I can take a holiday and retire early? If only that were true, I'd already be on a beach somewhere letting ChatGPT run the box office. AI can make you work faster, smarter, and work a lot less stressful. Less stress will work better. But it can't fix the projector, calm and the angry customer, negotiate with distributors. So until then, keep your sunscreen packed, but don't hand over the keys just yet. Thanks, chat. You really cracked me up on that one. Right, so I think it's quite fun. So, I think these are the basic principles, right? And with all these things that we're doing, we can sort of dive into a lot of these deep sort of different projects, and that's where the workshop, I think, you're going to really enjoy. And Jens and I will be there sort of helping you. Thanks very much.
Beautiful. Thanks, Mark. So we will continue, and there will be possible to ask Mark questions during this day, and especially during the workshop. So we will invite the first case study, and I don't know if there is any order. No? No. So let's go for Tamara. Coming up here to... Yeah. Tamara.
You have to cheer me up a little bit because, you know, I'm making a case study from a person who knows nothing about AR and really works from a very basic position, using completely free, like Gemini that I have with my mobile phone, chat and DeepSeek or something that can help me, but nothing in a very high. Now, these are only just some basic informations about Zlatna Vrata and about the job that I do. I'm not going to read it to you. It's just interesting to see that what is the scope of the job. This is more or less overall management of all cultural programs. So more or less I'm a one-man band in a cinema and other things. Why I put this picture of our program? We have a monthly program, and all those colorful letters on the left side are for special programs, and that's important for us because special programs need special needs, more work, more negotiation, more writing, more everything. So of course for one person everything helps. Predominant use of AI tools for me are really basic, but very, very important. It's mostly eliminating time-consuming tasks, and for the purpose of this presentation, I put it like program preparation, content creation, reporting, and data processing. But in practice, it's always everything, everywhere at the same time. It's just circles that goes from one to another. While one thing is prepared, the other thing is reported. So it's never just one circle. On this side, you see some things that I don't use any AI. These are program creation and various concepts that I need to do completely by myself, and also my to-do list. Why? Because for me, it's very important to have that connection hand. And there is nothing so rewarding to me as just physically crossed something. So for me, digital things doesn't work, but for you, maybe they work. As you can see on this is presentation crossed. So let's go for the first segment. First segment is preparation. For me, the AI works here as a detective, archaeologist, lawyer, secretary, and data processing. I'm just talking about examples here, not the whole job that AI can do. Let's say I spend lots of time looking for films on the market. Why? Not because it's not complicated to find distributor, but let's say in a country like Croatia and many post-transitional countries, it's very complicated to find films from ex-state big film companies that are now segmented in lots of small businesses that probably doesn't work with film anymore. So to find one film, and you see here, I'm looking for, I do it on my own language, but for this presentation, AI translated to English. I'm looking for film from Serbia. I have no idea how to find it. because I will probably call some colleague and he will send me to somebody else and I will talk with 10 people and probably won't do anything. I asked just one question: how can I find that and that film from that and that author and that year? And he gave me a completely manageable answer. I found the film, I have it. So this is like maybe a few hours or few days of work in one answer, and I do it all the time. And in some 70% of times, I get a really useful answers. Sometimes they said something wrong, and sometimes said, sorry, I don't know. If he doesn't know, I feel better, but because I don't know either. But on the other thing, let's say I work a lot with schools, and they have very different questions for me. A few days ago, because all those prompts are from like 7 days ago, it is not done for these presentations. They are real prompts. I have professor of, I'll just pass to another slide because it's all connected. I had a professor of German language asking me what kind of German film we can watch, let's say, in 2 days in your cinema with my students. Of course, I can find German films, but I have other things to do, and it costs me a lot of time to contact all the distributors and their websites and search for German films. So I just ask, what German language films are currently available on Croatian market? And I have a list of 10 films that are with the distributors that I can just send an email and ask, can you please provide me the film for day after tomorrow? So it is really great for time-consuming film and finding things that you normally need lots of time to find. Now, secretary. What you said just a few minutes earlier, AI composes highly appropriate mails, but I never send mails done by AI, because it can be seen. Yeah, I feel when I get an AI email, but it's very good to compose the rough letter. If I need to, I don't know, I have to ask a Russian distributor to provide me a film, and I have to say a couple of words about my cinema, about me, who am I. It's a very good draft, and then I try to do something with that human touch. It's always like humor, metaphor, or some kind of human voice that AI is very bad with. It doesn't work very well with that nuances of talk. For me, it's very important that it's able to respond to voice commands and dictation. I use it very often, and for correcting documents. For applications and questionnaires, I think that I don't have to explain that much. We heard about it in presentation before. And my personal favorite, something that really revolutionized my time working, is transforming documents into searchable files. Every day I have to pass through many documents, like very long lists from distributors, like my own programs that needs to be reported. I have no good tools for that. I just input my documents and ask really concrete question. Please extract me all the Croatian film from the program. And I have report for Croatian Film Agency that needs all the films, number of projections, number of audience. It's something that it takes me all day normally to do. If I have a very long list from the distributor and I always look for classics or some genre, please extract me all the films older than 30 years. And I have manageable list. For me, it was something that was really, really useful, and I do it every day. I don't know if this is the prompt for extraction of the Croatian film from the last month, because I have to make, we have funding from different funders, and for every one of them, I have to make a different report. For somebody is Croatian film, for somebody is the children's film, classics, or something like that. So this is it. Everything is written. This is how the reports are made with the help of EI. All the things are really about how precise are you with your prompts, and you have to check everything, really everything. But it takes not so much time to check it as to write it. As for content creation, it's exactly what we heard. I always use it for content creation, but never to publish it, but to help me. Sometimes I just need 500 words about something, and I have loads of information in my own computer. I just put the documents in and ask him to do it for me, and then edit it. And always put some human voice, and it is very important to share local cultural experience, to share local voice of your cinema and everything else. And for the end, I just put that criterion for me. It's just for me. It's not some ethics of the EI. I ask myself, am I lying? Because I think every one of us can answer that question. Do you feel you're lying? Are there my words? Is it content that is true? If it is, I feel like I can do it in that way, and if it isn't, maybe to start from the beginning.
Thank you. Thank you, Tamara. Thank you. Thank you, Tamara. There were a question on WhatsApp if these PowerPoints can be shared. Will they be there? Yes. Yes.
Can you stand up?
Yeah, you can use it.
Yeah. Do you want this or?
It's just this one. Yeah. Okay, and I have to do fast. Luckily, they spoke pretty much everything and anything. Just a quick background to make it all make sense. And I'm sorry for the translators because I'm going to speak fast. We can't slow down, sadly. Okay, I will try it. Quickly, my background: I work in cinema Artis. I studied art. When I grew up, I learned to draw because I wanted to draw comic books. Then I changed my mind. I studied math and coding, programming. I'm actually a mathematician and programmer. Then I changed my mind again. I did construction, 7 years, construction manager, and then I changed my mind. I decided to do movie reviews and YouTube, right? So I was 13 years a journalist, movie critic, YouTuber, esports player. I won a lot of esports tournaments, and now I'm working at cinema marketing, right? And the path kind of starts to make sense. These are some of the events we have done this year. Let's one move forward. Okay, the ultimate challenge is that I work alone, right? We have 3 people in the cinema. We have programming. We have a cafeteria head that does like the catering and these kind of things, and everything rest is me, right? So in 2024 we had 550 movies, 287 special events, all premieres, festivals, etc. 167 private events, and I have to do it everything. I have to talk with them, I have to book, then make sure that they have everything, make the invoices, etc. Find guest speakers if you have guest speakers, and of course every single movie event needs advertising in-house and outside, paper, media, posters, banners, designs, everything, right? And budget, of course, if you can calculate, this is 12.6 euros per event, which is 1,000 euros per month, 12,000 euros per year. Each year I've cut down the cost about 30%, and we put that money into the salaries of the cafeteria workers. On every page I put some reading here, and if you make pictures or later on can take it, those reading parts are very important, because like they said before, you need to understand the results that you're getting, right? And if you're not really understanding, you can't use AI. And cognitive ease is a really big psychological part that I always used when I did, for example, movie reviews. I started with 200 and 300 readers. Nobody really wanted to read. I ended with 2-3 million readers per review, because I spent a lot of time perfecting the cognitive ease part. That is really, really important, and you have to understand how to use AI to get like those results. And of course, analyzing every single movie. You can't watch every movie. I tried. I watched like 505 movies a year. I would still be off by 10 movies, but that's impossible. And minimal or no budget. Pretty much nowadays, I refuse to spend money on advertising, because you really have to convince me that it's worth the money. And I'm constantly taking it down and down and down, like just because it seems I can get results like every year better and better without money. For example, like with YouTube, I never spent any money on advertising, but I went from like 0 views to like 200 million per month. So it takes a little bit time, but again, please read materials that other people have done. Right, this is really, really important. I've always said it like all the time. You can't really trust your instincts. Your instincts would like suggest like the other way things actually work. And here, and small differences and small victories. This is what I always do. My only goal every day is that I want to do better than I did that same day last year. Right. For example, this morning I checked how Artis did last year on October 31st, and today I want to be better. Like yesterday I checked, and I'm always comparing that, we are moving just a little bit better. So if I'm better, like one person visits much more, or I'm getting 2 more people click on the Facebook, then I've already won. Right? It doesn't matter that the change isn't big, but it's going to be big at the end of the year. And I'm going to show all the numbers at the end here as well. Step 1 is understanding films, because this is actually what it's all about. When I see some people working at some cinemas, it kind of feels like the passion is gone for movies. Now it's all about just tickets, people, events. But actually it's still about movies. I work in the cinema only because I love movies. Right? I don't have any other real reason to be there. But like I said, we can't watch all of the movies. That's just impossible. So how do I promote movie that I have never seen and most likely will never see? So I just ask either Gemini or ChatGPT, and with ChatGPT, please use the Scholar AI version of the ChatGPT, and that's not the free version, but it gives you so much more insight that if you read about it, it takes about 5 minutes to read it. You get a pretty good idea what the movie is about. It gives you keywords, focus groups, and everything. So it like helps you to shortcut, the watching of the movie part. Local movies. Yeah, I watch all the local movies. yeah, this is the easy part, because we are a local cinema, we are owned by Estonian government. It's really easy. They just give me all the local movies. And you have directors and people there, just ask. And this is a thing that a lot of people skip, right? Sorry. Okay. And so they skip because, this is I know the movie. But if you actually analyze it, you find that there are certain things that aren't actually the same. So the picture here is a example from the Gemini prompt. I redid the prompts this night. I didn't sleep today because I had Estonian versions before, and I understood that they are meaningless. So I redid everything in English. So here are like a couple of examples, like really easy parallel mothers, and the movie, Estonian movie, Mind on kaks. So like, what does they actually mean? So youth audience, TikTok and Reels, don't use Facebook or whatever. Straight to point means that every content you do must be the focus. No startup like intros, nothing. 7 seconds and the young audience is already 2 reels, 3 reels past your content, right? Here are just another examples, and again, reading part. There are a couple of movies that I'm reading, and this one here, especially if you read anything from this, Buzz Marketing for Movies from Artis. She wrote it before like smartphones came, but this is like a prediction into the future, everything you actually want to know. And like I said, Scholar AI is your friend. And you get all the keywords. Here you can see weaknesses and strengths of the movies, right? It gives you like overview. If you have seen the movie, you don't need this, right? Just, you can do advertising. But if you haven't seen, just do this one, find the 5 minutes. And most of the time you actually find, okay, this is an interesting movie. I will actually, want to watch it myself as well. You're kind of selling this to yourself. Now it's the complicated part. Understanding our audience, this is always the hard part. And like I asked yesterday, do you actually know your audience? And here is just an example from an artist this August, and I will tell in a second what it actually means. When I use AI, I have trained my own models. I know that people can't really do that because because I wrote so many articles, there are like 3,000 articles, it was really easy to train AI to write like me, right? But it is in Estonian language, so it's not that useful. So what it means to understand your audience is you really need to know like days and weeks, they are different. So blue is Saturday, this is our audience Saturdays in our cinema. This is Mondays, right? And as you can see, they are not really they are not the same. So if you want to show movies on Saturdays, on Mondays, you kind of have to choose different kind of movies. Otherwise, it just kind of doesn't work. Audience overlap, really important part. I will have to skip over because the time is running out. Make some pictures or I don't know. I can send it over. Here are 3 examples overlap of the movies opening today. Bugonia, Architecton, and Smashing Machine. Smashing Machine is a really bad example, but I wanted to show it because it's not art house movie, right? So this is my own algorithm here at work. And this the number in the center where the overlap is, this is the prediction, which is our average audience times this one, is the prediction how this movie will perform. Smashing Machine is our average times 0.1. So you can pretty much know that you're not getting any audience. Bugonia, of course, times 2 times like 25. So this also means, like I put down here, that you don't have any reason to do any paid advertisements. This is already your audience. So easy content, easy views. This one, if you want to sell this one, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of time for very little reward, if any. And this is 40% overlap. like it says, minimal Instagram instant, etc., etc. It depends on your audience and your algorithm. And this is only Facebook and Instagram, not including TikTok, YouTube, and other places. Scheduling also, we'll skip this one over. Just this one here. This is, if you have ADHD or autism, read this one, because I have constant thing that I forget the time. Like tonight I didn't sleep because I forgot, and I had a video call with my kids. So this one is your friend. And time management, of course, so you wouldn't forget that you actually have to do it. We can skip over this one if you need ideas for designs. I studied art. I did like thousands of fan posters. I always love this, but these are very good Gemini free examples if you have your family event, if you have anime event, or like Pedro Almodovar retrospective. How should it look, more or less? And issues it can solve. I chose the top 5 issues as an examples. What like these kind of things can help you solve, like, you know, the cultural elitism that our new audience thinks about art of cinema, or young people, or, you know, people think that art of cinemas are too complex. Then possible options how you can get over these obstacles. These are hard obstacles to get over, but, you know, and again, please read, if you read anything from this, please take the Pikashi's book here, this one. Desiring audience, we will go to cinemas if, and again, this is really, really useful. And here are actual results. Before I came to Artis, our market share never went over 3.92%. This was the record before. Our average art house market share, we had 29.8% and 47.2% was revenue. And the separation from the growth rate was on average 3.3%. So we pretty much moved at the same rate as everybody else, if went it up and down. Now we have 5 quarters new record. We are going to break this one, I already know. This quarter as well. Our share is now 44% visitors, and our revenue is now 78% of all the art house revenue in Estonia. It will grow to 83% this quarter. And comparison, for example, when every cinema in Estonia was minus 12% on average, art house was minus 17%, then we were plus 6%. And in 2020 so far, we are about plus 17.6%. And we are heading up to about plus 22%. Here are Facebook numbers. First year when I took over, 1,100% up, right? 796 and 874% up. I wasn't glad with this one because it seemed too low. So next year I kind of fixed this number, right? And here you can see right now, this year, and these are already comparing to myself. So we are constantly going up, and each and every year and month I'm spending less and less money on advertising. So this keeps on going for free and free, not like more free content, like in a sense that you don't really need to spend money. And conclusion out of all of this is, it saves a lot of time. It does save a lot of time, but for me, the more time I save, the more work I think of myself. So it kind of seems that it gives more job or like more work to do. I don't trust AI with data, sadly. I do the fun part myself. I have all the Excel sheets. I'm not giving it, that one yet, but at one point maybe. Creativity, of course, is a big part of thing, and curiosity and movies. I think you still need to love movies, and don't forget about that. It's always about movies. And what in the future, for example, what's to come is my big project is I want to create a predictive algorithm here is an example. I worked on this about 8 months now. This is the red line, means how the cinema should be doing, considering people living there, region, income, like cost of living, everything, right? So this is how cinema Artis should have been done all of those years. And blue is how you're actually doing. So the goal is to get the blue line over the red. If it's under the red, then you're underperforming. And this model doesn't care about your totals. It doesn't matter if you have 500,000 or 5,000. It cares only where you are, how much your capacity is, and what is actually possible. So the idea is to help, like, reduce stress and maybe reduce the false, like, comparisons about cinemas that can't be compared, right?
Wow, thank you. I mean, amazing numbers. A big applaud for the amazing numbers as well. Yeah. Okay, so there will probably be more questions during the coffee and also the workshop, but we will give the stage to John for the last part before our coffee break. So thank you, Raiko and Tamara, for your insights and inspiration. Really inspirational about this. So or this? Yeah. Okay, so we listened to you yesterday. It was really inspiring to read and all in your reports. And now you will talk about a different subject. Welcome, John.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I thought of an idea for this session, very disconnected from the previous sessions. This is going to be a very analog session. And that's why I chose a picture. This cinema is the Duke of York's in Brighton. I live on the corner 1 block from there, and I used to be the manager of the cinema. This is opening day in 1910. It's still running as a cinema. It's a lovely place. Anyway, so the exercise here is to something I used to do when my job at Picture House was opening new cinemas, was essentially finding out what the market, what we call the TAM, the addressable market in any city or region or location was. And it was the first step in building a business plan to either build a cinema, buy a cinema, adapt a cinema, essentially open a cinema. And it's the first step to understand, do you have an audience to begin with? Can I do it like that? Yeah. So, you know, TAM, it's a sort of well-known term. It's particularly used a lot by, you know, tech startups that operate at a global level. So, you know, Uber and places like that have they're always focused on what their TAM is and how to achieve it, essentially. So, you know, a company like Uber might have, I don't know, 200 million users, let's say, but they have data that shows that their addressable market, the people that could be interested in their product, could be 500 million. So that's the pattern of growth. It justifies investment. It allows you to plan. That's at the largest scale. In our market, we're obviously talking about admissions, number of tickets that you can sell in your market. And your market could be as small as a village or a huge metropolitan European city. The principle is the same. So how do we do that? Well, it's just what I said. How do we calculate it? So this is, I don't have a equation because it's so simple, really. All you have to do is you define your geographical market, right? And so by that, I mean how far a customer will travel in your country, region, to attend a cinema performance, right? So I typically use a drive time number. So that's how long it takes to drive somewhere. Now, it could be that you have good public transport or people don't drive or they cycle to your cinema, but 20 minutes is usually understood to be the maximum amount of time that someone will travel for something like a cinema. Obviously, people travel much more for a concert or a sports event, but for cinema, you have a kind of sort of lower tolerance level for how much you'll invest in that journey. So you have to decide, okay, I have a village, and within 20 minutes drive time of my village, there are, let's say, 300,000 people. So then you calculate that amount of people that you have defined as your market times the average amount of cinema visits per year. Now, how do you know how many average cinema visits per year you have? Every country has a national average. And then, but if you can, is to go deeper into what is the average in your region, right? Because every country has higher averages in the big cities and lower averages in rural areas. You know, it's pretty common sense. And there's sometimes, and not every country has this, but there are regional databases, and I'm sure AI can help you find them, of what your average attendances are in your region. And that essentially will be your TAM, right? Now, that doesn't mean that all those people are yours, because there's competition. So what you have to do then is, let's say your number is, so you have 300,000 people in your area that can come. The average visits are 1.5 per year in Europe. So what's that? 450,000 admissions for that region. And so the next step, and this is the harder part, is you have to find out what your competition is already serving. So if you have 450 in that region, but there's 2 multiplexes in the area, they might already have all those 450,000 admissions. So you have to find out what their admissions are. And it's not easy, because they don't like to tell people. But what you can do is, some of you have access to ComScore. ComScore gives you, well, in some countries it does give you admissions, and in the UK it's just box office. And what I would typically do is look at ComScore, look at a cinema's total yearly revenue, so box office amount, and divide that by the average ticket price in that country or region. And it's an estimate, but essentially, if there's an Odeon on the corner, and I can see on ComScore they've done €1 million or pounds a year, I can roughly estimate how many people bought tickets. And that is the number that you have to subtract from your TAM to understand what's left, right? Because basically, it's, and to the point of, I'm so sorry, I forgot, the last speaker, where are you? There you are. What you said about essentially what is, where are we supposed to be? It's sort of a version of what you were saying. It's like predicting where we think we should be, what our market can withstand for the offer that we have. And it might be that your cinema is already exceeding its essentially total addressable market and you're doing very well. But you might realize when you do this calculation, let's say you have 50,000 admissions, but your TAM says that you could have 100. That means you have a path for growth in admissions. Is there another slide? No, there isn't. This, I told you, it's a very fast presentation because it's such a simple equation. And you know, listening to Mark and others, the way you use AI, I feel like is the perfect tool for this exercise. Is essentially mapping your market geographically, population-wise, admissions-wise, and yeah, and that will give you at least a basis to start from of understanding. You know, and many of us are thinking about adding another screen or opening a second location. This is the kind of exercise you have to do before you do it. There are other tools that big companies buy, like marketing data, and I don't know how much of this is open source or public, but things like, well, in the UK we call it CACI, which is like a terrible name, but essentially gives you postcode information by income. So you can find out essentially in the areas around you, you know, this postcode or this zip code is full of affluent people in a certain category, like ABC1, or, you know, there's different marketing categories for high earners, university educated, maybe, you know, a car or two in the house. These parameters that tell you this is a rich vein of, you know, maybe affluent people or older people. And here in this area, there's families. Now, how you find that information out, well, there's two ways. You can obviously pay for it, but it's very expensive. And a lot of it is just, you know, the hard work of leaving your cinema and thinking about who is beyond your cinema doors. I've done things like stand outside a multiplex in a city somewhere and just count the people going in because I couldn't find out what the admissions were. So I would do like a weekend sample and then extrapolate. You know, it's hard work, very far from our desktops, but or literally spending days and weeks in different locations so that I understand the type of people that live in that area. And you're already in your location, so you probably already know anecdotally what that is. And it's about, like in the previous speakers, is matching the tools with your own local experience and knowledge, which is vast, of course. Yeah, essentially to understand who is your target, who is your audience, is there more than we could get, where are they? I think is a sort of almost like step zero to anything else that we do. And yeah.